Ola Aina has been confirmed officially by Nottingham Forest, and with Elanga just round the corner, just how will they fit into the team? Let's jump into it and let's have a look. Welcome to your Forest News. Good morning, good evening, or good night, wherever in the world you are. Whatever time of day you're watching this, hope you're having a fantastic day. And welcome to your latest Nottingham Forest video. In today's video, we're going to be talking about the latest official confirmed signing of Ola Aina and how does he fit into Steve Cooper's plans. With Elanga pretty much around the corner as his medical is scheduled to be booked in, we'll also look at him and can the two players both start in the way Cooper wants to play. All that coming up. Before we do that, please don't forget, if you would be so kind, take a second to hit that like button. Subscribe to Forest Fan TV if you are new here. It is completely free to do. And let's jump into this video and let's have a look at these players. Alrighty guys, so again, let me reiterate. I ain't saying Cooper's going to play this. I'm not saying this is his plan. Me and Cooper aren't, roommates or anything like that. We're just looking at the potential options he will have with the new signings he's brought in. And we're going to start with Ola. And with this one, it's a bit weird because although he is traditionally a left back, he's played, as we said in the video yesterday at Torino, as a right wing back, quite attacking in the way he did it. Played, 19 odd games or whatever it was for them last season. We do have a highlights reel clip for him on the FFTV High Press channel. So if you want to check that out after so you can see him IRL and see what he's really like, I'll leave the link for it on the end screen of the video. So is he going to come in as a right wing back or is he going to come in his more traditional place as a left wing back? Well, at the moment, I feel like Nico Williams is one of Cooper's boys. I think if we are going to play in a three back, that Nico Williams would be Cooper's first choice for right wing back. And the problem here is where we had Lodi last season, obviously, rip Lodi, he's gone. So he's got to come out. And if we look at the formation we actually finished with last year, that's where I want to start. So Jono was dropped, you had MGW out on the left kind of drifting into the middle. And what you had, let's just leave Lodi in here for a second. You then had Danilo just slightly ahead of him here somewhere, Mangala, and like a Ryan Yates or something there. So it's a really packed out midfield. And in fact, so packed out you can barely fit it on a virtual pitch here. So we saw that again today in the Levante match where Cooper went for this 3-5-1-1 or 5-4-1, 5-3-1-1. I don't know what you call it, but it's very, very compact, especially in the middle. So if he was going to bring these players in, and we'll talk about Ola first, it could be a very easy straight swap where Lodi comes out and then Aina comes in there and plays in that more attacking position. Now, he is actually right-footed, even though traditionally he is a left-sided player. But it seems like he may be coming in as a right-footed player. This one is a little confusing for me because I can't figure it out. I feel we're already quite top-heavy on the right-hand side. As we just mentioned, you got Williams there. You got Serge Aurier, who's good in a back four. You got Biancone, who can play centre back, right wing back, or right back. That's already three players there. And we've got the backups as well. I mean, Drager's probably not going to be in the squad, but there's plenty of cover there. It's on this left-hand side where we're struggling, where we've only got currently Omar Richards, Tuffalo, and potentially Aina, who can come in and switch. Now, we can make the case in the argument that Nico Williams can switch over to the left. Not been too bad when he's played there in emergencies. I wouldn't say he's a mainstay starting player on that left-hand side. I think he's better as a right wing back. So if Aina's going to come in and we make the assumption that he's going to be ahead of Omar Richards, etc., then it's quite likely he will start on that left-hand side and bring some balance. And on a free, it's not bad business because he is pacey, he is aggressive, and he has the odd eye for a goal every now and again. I think he won goal of the month once, in the Premier League. How exciting. But he can score a few goals every now and again. And I still think Cooper is focused around this back three formation. And he does want this pace released down these wings to create the width. Now, what you would find with that is you're still blocking out the middle. And in essence, that's the way Cooper would like to set up, but it has huge headaches for him. Because as you can see, Jono's not even in this team yet. Where would he fit in this narrower back three formation? Big headache for Cooper there. And in terms of Elanga, who we'll touch on in a minute, how would he fit in there? And if you're fitting those in, then you have to drop one of these central players. Are you going to drop an MG Dub? Probably not. Danilo is probably the most informed Forest player up outside of MG Dub right now. And then Yates is pretty much a mainstay for Steve Cooper. And Mangala seems to be, if he can stay on the pitch for long enough, quite solid at the moment. But what we are seeing in these friendlies is the likes of Freuler coming in. And is Freuler being shop windowed? Or does he have a future at all at Nottingham Forest? That's the question we're going to have to wait and see with the transfer window and whether Freuler is moved on. There are some loose rumours about it happening. How true they are or not, we don't know yet. But anyway, back to Aina. I think he's been brought in for versatility. If I'm being honest with you, I think he's going to be our utility player. Someone who can slot in, let's say Williams is out injured. He's an easy replacement at right back. And let's just say pretend that's Omar Richards for now. I still can't let go of Lodi. He would work in there and create the balance still. And then there are positions that he can cover. On top of that, he can play midfield. If Cooper wanted to switch it to like a 4-3-3 and God forbid Jono or someone was injured, he can still play as a wide winger. So I think he's that versatility that Cooper wants. You have to have a utility player in most teams. And I think that's what he's after, because he's even said it in his thoughts interview on him. Cooper said he is quite flexible and adaptable in the positions he can play. So that's where he fits in. Look, hand on heart, does he start for me? I don't think so. I think it'll be Nico Williams on the right and either Omar Richards on the left or someone else coming in from the transfer window. There's still a few links on left backs and left wing backs for Nottingham Forest. So maybe he is in as a utility player. Now, does he come in expecting to play first team football? Again, I don't think that's the case, because his goal was to get himself back into England. He was in the Serie A obviously last season, having played for Chelsea, Fulham, etc. beforehand. He has clearly said, even before Forest signed him, as I mentioned to you on the video yesterday, that he wants to return back into the Premier League. So I think he'll be happy to build himself into the squad, establish himself that way, and then maybe push for a first team or a squad position, etc. as the season progresses. And with our injury record from last year, who knows? It could be a very important signing. But I think he won't start. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments down below. All right, so let's move on and look at Anthony Elanga and how he would fit in. And firstly, I just want to show you how Manchester United would play. And this is their typical setup. Now, obviously, this is a Forest player, so use your imagination a little here. But what you would find is most of the time, his preferred position is either left or right. He's not that fussed. Reason being is most of the time, this would have been Trashford out here on the left. And when Elanga would fit in, he would fit in here on the right-hand side. Usually because Sancho or Anthony were pretty crap. So anyway, he would play on the right-hand side. But his comfort is to come in from the left and basically invert and shoot with that left foot. And he has got the pace to get in behind. And a lot of the times what he does really well is he would play those 1-2 balls with the likes of Bruno Fernandes, etc. So you'd see him pop a quick ball in here to the 10, and then he would make that run in behind the defense, looking for the number 10 to then play the ball into the gaps. And he got a few of his goals. And let's be honest, the goals he has scored are few and far between anyway. He is still technically unproven at the top level, even though he has played a decent amount of games for Manchester United. So with his normal position, because of Trashford, he did spend a lot of his time on the right-hand side. But at the same time, if they were making substitutes, or there was a period about a year or so ago where Trashford was injured, he was filling in and deputizing as that left-sided player. So what we do get with Elanga is a bit of versatility in terms of if he needs to go out either wing, he can adapt and cope quite well. In fact, on top of that, there were a few instances where with Martial being injured and Weghorst being absolute crap and Manu struggling with strikers, he actually played up front for them as a false-ish number 9. And again, it was okay there, but not quite perfect. Still young in his development phase, 21 years old, homegrown player, doesn't need to be registered into a 25-man squad. So there's plenty to like about him. He's not blockbuster by any means. He's not, a marquee signing at all, but he could potentially do us a job. So that's the background on him. The real issue and the real headache is how does he fit in to a Nottingham Forest formation? Now, if Cooper was to go with his usual preferred 3-back, then the only way this really would work is if you went for a 3-4-3. And that's how potentially I could see him fitting in. So if we just adjust this quickly, let's just take Jono off just for a quick second. What you could end up doing is something like this, where you've got a Mangala, Danilo, 3-4-3 in the middle, and then you're pushing the wing backs up here. That could change obviously to Nico Williams. Shuffle across, even though Niakate, breaking news, out for 6 weeks minimum, and then you'd bring your third centre back in. So in essence, you're playing this 3-4-3 formation. Now the problem with this is Forest, with the likes of Mangala, Danilo, Yates, and Freuler, have really struggled to hold down a 2-man midfield. For this to work, ideally, you'd be looking to bring in maybe a Sangare, as we've spoken about a lot, or a Tyler Adams in that position, who can potentially hold a midfield with a 2 rather than a 3. And that does free you up the option to play that 3-back formation. But let's assume that this can be held. This would be the kind of formation where he fits in. And this would be the only formation as well that allows both Elanga to play and Aina to play it as well. Because Aina could slot in at left back. Here, let's just bring Williams in just to go more realistic with potentially what it could be. But I don't like this formation. I think it's too exposed in the middle. I don't like playing without a 10. I think MG Dub does his best work here. You've also then got the Brennan Johnson headache yet again. I mean, could you see potentially Elanga coming in not to start? I don't think that's the case. Otherwise, he would have ended up going to Everton, for example. I think he's had some kind of reassurances. Now, no first team place is guaranteed by any stretch of the imagination, but there must have been some assurances, as long as your form is good, as long as you're fit, etc., you will be fighting for a first team place. So it's still a headache. And overall, it's hard to judge which way Cooper's going to go with this. The only balanced formation that I can see where you can bring in and make sure you're not losing out on Johnson, Elanga, MG Dub in the 10, etc., is probably in either a 4-3-3 or a 4-2-3-1. So if we line that up, let's just take Worrell out for argument's sake, bring the defenders back in, and then again you're going to be going something like this, with Elanga switching out on the left, Jono on the right, and Uwani up front. Now, I will reiterate, for this to work, the 2 CMs are key. I think Danilo can do a great job getting up and down there. That's not a problem. Mangala can play in the CDM position, but his passing range isn't the best. And you really are looking for that Sangera type of player to come in and be able to hold that too. So if Cooper doesn't feel comfortable just leaving a 2 there without any new recruits coming in, again, it forces him into a headache, because he's going to have to drop one of these players, and the position would be the 10, not necessarily MGW. But let's say for argument's sake he drops him, which is an impossibility in my opinion, and let's say he brings a Yates in, then you're looking at this 4-3-3. But I can't see MGW being dropped. And I can't see Jono staying happily being in and out of the squad when he would regard himself, and I would agree with him, as an established Premier League player now. So the question I want to ask you guys, if you see this formation switching into a 4-3-3, out of these 4 players here, who would be the one dropped? And could potentially Elanga be coming in just to be a backup or an impact sub, and Forest starting with something like this? That for me is a real tough question. It's a good conundrum as well for Cooper to have. It gives him options, it gives him flexibility. But if he could have his strongest team, what would it be? Some of you would argue that potentially these signings aren't fitting in with the style that Cooper's trying to build. Is he going to stick with this 5-4-1-1 formation? Or is that even enough players? 9-10. There's too many players. but the one where he's basically did against Levante today, where he's packing out the midfield and playing with 1.5 attacking players. And if that's the case, where does Jono fit in? Where does Elanga fit in? Now, the only other alternative, and this is a stretch, but if we were to go into Cooper's favoured formation, and let's just leave Yates and Danilo in there for now, where Cooper likes the 5-2-1-2, for example. So bear with me as I chuck the rest of the players in there. What you could see here, 5-2-1-2, would be something like this. And I can't see this happening. But potentially Elanga being played as an attacking left-sided wing-back. He does have the physique. He does have the pace. He can kind of defend. Not brilliantly, but as a utility player, maybe. And could Cooper be thinking about switching into something like this and becoming very attacking with the width? And this wouldn't so much be a 5-back formation. This really would turn into a 3-4-1-2 formation. And again, you'd have Jono drifting out wide here, Awani coming into more the established 9 position, freeing up the space for Elanga to run with the ball because he's a very good dribbler, a very good 1-2er of the ball as well. Maybe that could work, but it could expose us in this area here at the back if he is over-attacking, because defense wouldn't be his number one protocol. Now, we've seen Cooper turn these players into into hybrid players before. Remember Colback in our promotion campaign, playing as left wing back, but really tucking into the midfield when he got forward. So maybe Cooper has something, different planned in his mind. I think it's a bit of a stretch to think he would do that, but it could be interesting to see how that would work. What do you guys think? In essence, what I'm saying here is, honestly, I don't know for sure a couple of things. I can't see how both Elanga and Aina both fit into the same team at the same time, unless you're going to put Aina as a orthodox left back and potentially play a 4-2-3-1, because then you're not losing Jono, MG Dub, etc. But I can't also see Cooper wanting to go away from his back three. It's clear from the few friendlies we've seen now, apart from Notts County, he's wanted to start with that back three, the 3 centre backs, 2 wing backs, and then try to pack out the middle with a 1 attacker. And he's showing his hand a little, but at the same time, the argument back again, you could have this argument back and forth 1,000 times, is he's not really been using the first team players, has he? Maybe showcasing some of the fringe players, some of the kids, etc. But they're all playing into that formation. And I think we may end up with a split pot here, where when we play away from home, again, or against a big 6 team at home, the so-called big 6 team, we will see that 3-back formation deployed. And when we're playing against a lesser team or a team we're expected to compete better with, we may see Forest reverting into a 4-2-3-1. Maybe that's how it works. That's what a few of you guys were saying on the live stream last night. And after thinking about it, I could see something like that happening. But is that the correct solution? Get your thoughts in down below. Okay, so that should hopefully start to get your kind of juices flowing in the old brain department, the cogs ticking. Let me know down below, how do you feel these players all fit in? Now, again, let me stress, some of these players are going to be brought in as squad depth. Some will be brought in as starters. But I'm just talking about if they were to start, how would they fit in and how would they play? Get your thoughts in down below as always. If you've enjoyed the video and you haven't already, please don't forget to hit the like button. Subscribe to Forest Fan TV if you are new. And we'll catch you on the next video. And come on, you Reds.